Gen G and Team Dignitas are through with flying colors, but one of the teams in the next match, our last match of the day, could prove to be one of the biggest wrenches in those plans. I'm Keely Weed back here with Trixler, Caldor, and Wolf. Trick, things happened that last match. Murky was back at BlizzCon.
Yeah, and I was so excited. I thought maybe we would get another victory, but Tempest Storm unable to perform there. And it is a bit of a tough pill to swallow to see a North American representative fall out like that. It was pretty unfortunate, but at least there was something that was trying to be played there by Tempest Storm, and I commend him for that. It just didn't work out the way they were planning.
I know you were probably very excited to see Trixler get excited about Murky.
Yeah, definitely. Once Murky was locked in, you could really tell like he was lighting up there.
Let's take a look at the bracket and see what has transpired throughout today in the quarterfinals of our HGC Finals. Gen G 2-0 over China's last team, the one. And then, unfortunately for North America, both Tempo Storm and Heroes Hearth Esports fell victim to European dominance, Wolf.
Yeah, it's been a bad day for North America across BlizzCon. I think the only North American reps we have left are in World of Warcraft, so... You know, it's when you lose like that, I kind of agree with what Caldor was saying on the panel earlier. I think everyone wanted to see a real series there, and I don't think we got that. So, feels bad. But we are going to get the realest of real series here. Miracle versus Tempest. Isn't everyone excited about that?
I was like, oh gosh, let me take us to the next slide. Otherwise, I'll never get Wolf to stop talking about Korea versus Korea, but he did it anyway. He brought it in. But truly, it could be a very good series. I think it will be a very good series.
Yeah, and maybe before we start into that, I really want to recommend Heroes Hearth in particular for the series against Liquid, because that was the match where I could have seen both teams advance, and I think Heroes Hearth played amazing. That second map, it broke them a little bit, but even the way that they reacted to everything that Liquid threw against them, you have to respect them for that. It was a fantastic performance by them, and Hazops pointed out in an interview afterwards, it was a close series and could have gone either way.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, while you've lost, still something to be proud of for Heroes Hearth.
Certainly, I think anyone that is looking from North America can look at Heroes Hearth and be proud of their season in general. This entire year has been them about growth, and they made it incredibly far. Granted, I'm sure a lot of Americans would love to see that team finally make it in the semifinals. It's been 3 years since then, but Heroes Hearth is definitely the candidate for next year that everyone should keep their eyes on.
Wolf, we've heard from both Rich and Haswaps now about the Team Liquid Gen G rematch, and Haswap said he felt like there was perhaps a little fear there from Rich and Gen G. I even felt like maybe he was trying to egg on Heroes Hearth Esports so we didn't have to face the one team that took a game. Do you feel like that's fair? You know this team the best.
I mean, I think that there's always been a lot of respect from Gen G for Team Liquid. And, you know, even when we interviewed them all the way back before opening week, there was a lot of respect shown, saying that their drafts look a little bit weird, but they seem really strong and intelligent, as well as Team Liquid taking that map off of them in the group stage. So, sure, I think there's definitely some fear there for Gen G facing this team that feels kind of like a wildcard team in some ways. But when you watch the opening week matches, it was some small mistakes in the late game that caused them to drop that game. I don't really feel like anyone would say that in that second game that Team Liquid crushed Gen G or anything like that.
The interesting part to me was that Gen G actually called that already before the tournament when we talked to them. They said they feel one of the strongest opponents that they have in their group is Liquid. And at first, I really was surprised by this. It was like, everything that they said about the team, we were looking at each other.
It was like leftovers, like the way they were discussing
Are they really talking about Liquid? Are they mixing up the names here? And then it's Liquid who takes the map of them. So it just shows that they know exactly who to be afraid of. As you said, map 2 was close in that series, but still, Liquid is the one team that took one. And now Hazu comes in and says, no, maybe we can build on that.
Well, Gen G has already made it through. We'll find out which Korean team will join them in the semifinals with our next match of Korea versus Korea.
만족스러웠던 결과는 아니었던 것 같은데 생각보다 이제 경험을 많이 했던 것 같아서 괜찮은 것 같아요. 일단은 다른 팀들이 좀 어떻게 쓰는지 좀 메타를 알게 돼가지고 그런 걸 본선이 3판 2선이기 때문에 좀 변수를 많이 가지고 있는 해외 팀보다는 좀 많이 만나면 한국 팀 만나는 게 좀 낫다고 생각을 했어요. 이제 제가 우승을 하게 된다면 경기 끝난 다음 날 디즈니랜드 가서 가장 비싼 티켓을 끊고 하루 종일 재밌게 놀 것 같아요.
이 오프닝 위크는 저희가 예상했던 것보다 훨씬 더 성적을 좋게 얻어가지고 조 2위로 진출했잖아요. 근데 정말 상상도 못하는 만큼 좋은 승리여가지고 되게 기쁘게 생각하고 있어요. 사실 그렇게 만나고 싶은 상대는 아니었어요, 템페스트는. 저희 상대로 전적이 너무 좋기도 하고 그렇게 썩 달가운 일은 아니지만 템페스트를 만나서 무조건 질 것 같다 그런 생각은 들지 않아요.
It's that time. We need to welcome these teams to the stage. They're the best to play the game from Korea. In the red corner, it is Tempest! And their opponents also hailing from Korea. It is none other than Miracle! All right, captains, please come to center stage to shake hands. This way, gentlemen. May the best team win. Good luck. All right, it's gonna be a good one. Back to the desk.
While good handshakes continue to elude us, the good games have not. It's been great all day long, and this one promises to continue because this matchup, Miracle did far better than Tempest in the group stage. Tempest had a lot of problems with drafting. Feels like Sign, it's not his meta at all. Also, they're doing even some role swaps that have continued for them. But at the same time, Miracle feels like Tempest are their Achilles heel, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously defeated them in league play many, many times over this year and last year as well. So for Miracle, it feels like this is like a brick wall they can't pass. They've already beaten Gen G, not obviously in group stage, but they did end up winning against Gen G in league play in phase 2 twice. So I think the big thing for Tempest here is just they're going to be excited, as was mentioned in that interview previously, to play against a Korean team, to play against what they're familiar with. Tempest is a team that's more, I think, brawn over brains in a lot of ways. They rely on their mechanics. They rely on their team fighting. Strategically, though, in this tournament, they've been very far behind.
And the interesting part is that when we look at phase 2, or from the perspective of Miracle, they didn't even win a single map against Tempest. It's not only that they lost those matches, they were utterly destroyed. Then they come here, and it feels a bit like they're thriving on the stage. You see Judy with insane plays on the side of Miracle, and Tempest, on the other hand, we had that at several tournaments now, seems to struggle a bit when they are on the big stage, and that might transfer now into this match as well.
Yeah, I really think the thoughts from Wolf are echoed there. Bronze over brains, right? Yeah. Trying to see if they can power their way through, and that's the good thing for Tempest here, is that matchup against Miracle, as mentioned. Tempest has already beaten Miracle on the ground multiple times, so we should see them get a big victory here with something that they are very comfortable with. But on the other side, for Miracle, I would love for them to get a victory here. That's for them to finally get that breaking point to say, you know what, we really do deserve to be here, because as you saw from Judy earlier, he was like, hey, we've done better than we've ever expected. They need to have that moment to be like, we deserve to be at BlizzCon.
Well, they definitely need to prove it, because this is the team that for the first time has kept Ballistics from being able to represent Korea on LAN. Yeah. Though we have to remember that Nacho Jin is a previous BlizzCon winner. There is that experience there.
Yeah, and you know, Sniper has lost on this stage before, so there's two players here that one is trying to get a second title, one's trying to get his first, and then 3 players that are trying to hold the team together. It's the best roster that we've ever seen from Miracle since the Gold Club World Championship 2016 finals, where they lost to Ballistics. Ironically, that you mentioned that they gate-kept Ballistics out of this event. I think for Miracle, this is a huge opportunity to prove that there's more depth to Korea than just the top 3 teams that everyone always talks about. Everyone always says, okay, you've just got the top 3. Everyone else, they never go to international events. Blossom didn't do too well at Eastern Clash, but Miracle is the outlier. And if they can win this and go to top 4, everyone changes their expectations, I think.
The impressive part about Miracle and their performance for me is also it's not only the team synergy that they show, it's individual plays that always come through. That's either on the side of Blue Beetle. We've talked about Judy multiple times, how he had just game-saving moments for them. And so they have everything here. And if they can, without pressure, play that now against Tempest, they have really good chance of advancing.
Right, well, you even consider beyond that, and they feel more flexible as a team to go into some pocket strategies, some strategies that work for them that other Korean teams aren't doing, teams that might be more rigid within their meta, like Gen G, for example, though Gen G's playing things like Alaric, but you look at Blue Beetle, and it's that Ana and the Mephisto that got them here and that they're still willing to play Trick.
The flexibility is great, but they also have a great foundation. If they have any of these 4 heroes, Diablo, Gyarados, or Blaze, if they have 2 out of those 4, they have over 70% of their wins with that being mixed in there. So if they can get that and then bring in that flexibility, that's where I can see them breaking down Tempest.
Well, a lot of that comes down to the space that's created by the tanks, and that comes down to the draft and what they can get. For the Battleground pool, we're going to Towers of Doom, a favorite battleground For both of these teams, both have picked it throughout the group stage, but it's Tempest who gets to do it in a familiar place, which means they'll be in the second pick position. Bans will be on Dragonshire. Volskaya Foundry is always the ban for Tempest. Miracle changes up depending on their opponents. But Wolf, I wanted to ask you a question. We don't see Miracle banning Sky versus Tempest, which has been a lot of times a map that's picked versus Tempest. Why do you think that is?
I think that for Miracle, Sky Temple is a map that they've had a lot of historical success on, obviously with different rosters, because their early game was super strong back in the day. Now, and that map back in older metas would snowball really quickly. Now they're very good at late game, and I think Sky Temple's also evolved into a map that does go to late game where they feel really strong with their decision making there. So I think that's probably the main reason why you do see that shift. Moving into this map, I expect that Dahaka is actually going to be a pretty contested pick. Korean teams really like to use Dahaka to control the macro, control bell towers with delay on the altar channels. Not going to be a first pick priority, but something we'll see, I think, for sure.
Both of these teams have a lot of emphasis, as every team, is on Tyrande, but also Raynor and Thrall. So I would expect maybe we see Thrall escalate in the situation. But there are some key picks that have been left open here.
I mean, that Blaze is up and available if we want to go for that top laner. You did mention that Dahaka being here, which is always a mainstay on Towers of Doom. Typically here in Sky Temples, we're going to see him in that first slot if he is going to get picked up.
Yeah, and Gilly already mentioned Raynor, and I would expect Raynor to see him in one of the early rotations here once again. He's by the Korean teams in particular, oftentimes also used as an engagement stopper. Whenever you have in Garrosh a Diablo against you, you're oftentimes playing around that penetrating round and trying to create the space on the retreat. And then of course he always packs that punch too. But first of all, Miracle with Maiev, we have seen all of that engage potential that you want to have. Then with this you can already start forcing these fights. So they are already looking at a very aggressive opening.
My question is, does Judy get the Garrosh here? Will Tempest allow that? Sign probably not wanting to prioritize that too much on this battleground in particular. So if he wants to deny it, it's going to have to be very likely now. And he will not. He'll just take the Diablo. So Judy does have that Garrosh pick available, which has been his best hero. I mean, going as far back as last year, not just the squad he's had here for Miracle this year, where he's been target banned. He's just been a Garrosh main, and we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. Some of these teams just keep giving priority picks over to top players on these squads, and they pay for it. Let's see if he locks it in. Gonna leave it open, going for that Dahaka I was talking about earlier.
Something I'm really happy to see from Tempest is that Diablo was picked here. They haven't played any Diablo game so far, only one Garrosh game, and that's what I was talking about with Sign, not feeling like he's really fitting into what we've seen from the Warrior meta so far. Also not allowing Abathur through, since that has haunted them many a game, but they're getting something more straightforward here.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if we get the Murden from him on this battleground. With the Diablo coming out gives you that aggression that you're looking for, just usually getting out isn't as easy. But if they're able to pick up a Blaze later on, that should allow for them to at least get away from Maiev, which is coming back over to Miracle, the reason why I want to see Blaze ban right here.
And immediately ban on to Johanna as well. Since over Blaze we're seeing the Hammer banned out, but Johanna as a ban I think is really interesting here. Now, coming back to the Raynor also quickly, it's exactly that setup that we expected. It's the one really consistent thing when we're looking at the Korean teams, that high priority onto him. But really leaving a lot open here with the ban on Johanna over a potential Garrosh, for example.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Judy was undefeated with Garrosh until they played versus Gen G. That is his power pick.
And you can argue that in that series, their Ana composition just didn't really work out for him. So it didn't necessarily hinge on the Garrosh. It was more so that the idea behind it didn't really work against a team as good as Gen G. So now you're leaving this open, and let's see if Miracle goes for it.
I like the adaptation to see the Zeratul come through here for Tempest. Good as a player at DPS in the past. He was a melee flex on his previous teams, and it was one of his best picks. He may, of course, take it up here. We'll see, not a guarantee. But it's adaptation from Tempest. They don't really run this. This is not something they've shown us throughout the group stages or in league play. So just taking this, learning from what they've seen from the West in group stage and applying it. We will see Judy's Garrosh come through here. Big comfort pick here. And the white main for extra sustainability means it's going to be very difficult for Zeratul to get those backline kills.
At the same time, though, with Zeratul and Diablo, you have now a Void Prison into APOC combo, and you even have the Arrow as a potential follow-up to any of the two. So a really sustaining setup now with a Blaze on the last pick as well. He can, through the top lane, get the wave plane, and then killing that setup with Deckard Cain, Diablo, and Blaze is going to be very, very difficult for them.
The best part about the Blaze, too, is it gives you an exit route. When you have Maiev come in there and drop down that Warden's Cage, you drop down the bunker, you have an escape route, and you're good to go. So they should be able to control that Maiev, which is very important here for Tempest.
I will say, I'm going to continue to be worried about Tempest and the role swaps that they're doing, because they spent a lot of time swapping Lockdown onto that offlane role and then changed things back. Then Dami was the one playing offlane, but he was also the melee assassin player, and like it wasn't working for them in group stage. So is this Lockdown who's going to be playing Blaze and what they practice, but they're not practiced with at the tournament, or are they going to be putting Dami back? Like,
it's tough, you know, and the fact that I don't even have the answers for you is, I think, you know, even though I've commented this team all year long, it's indicative of how uncertain they are. It's really reminiscent of Tempest from last year that lost to Roll 20 with lots of role swaps. Kono announces he's leaving the team right afterwards. It feels like it's a very similar time here, and I do think Tempest has taken a draft that we're just going to fight, we're going to use this comp to get kills, whereas macro-wise, you've got the Hyperion for Raynor to control that bottom bell tower, you've got the Dahaka. I'm really liking what Miracle's bringing to the table here.
Do you guys echo that sentiment? Are you feeling Miracle for this game one?
Completely agree. There's so much control being available. I mean, Raynor in particular, being able to handle that Diablo when it goes in for the engage is going to be huge here for Miracle, and I think if Miracle's finally going to get the win, it's here on the BlizzCon stage.
Well, one of the best things about Korea versus Korea is we're guaranteed some good games and some good fighting, and I anticipate just that. Enjoy this one, guys.
All right, Caldor, here we go. Miracle versus Tempest, a rematch for the ages. They've played each other multiple times. Tempest always getting the upper hand, but can Miracle pull it off?
I'm actually pretty hyped for this, because with the momentum that we are seeing on the side of Miracle and the confidence heading now here onto the big stage, it really feels that they think this is our moment. This is really the time when we can break the curse and take Tempest down.
Looking to see if they can pull that off here as we get ready here for game number 1 in this best of 3 series here. Franco in particular is someone I'll be watching for this entire match. He has grown so much as a player and these last years he's constantly been playing and moving up in the ranks. Here we go on the left side. In the blue, it will be Miracle. Franco on Raynor, Blue Beetle on White Mane, Nacho Jin on Dahaka, Sniper on Maiev, Judy on Garrosh.
And over to the right side, we have their opponents. Team Tempest in the red with Hyde on Deckard Cain, Sign on Diablo for the engage, Dami on Blaze, and a quick pause as Lockdown is thrown with Zeratul here. Tempest already showing some nerfs here, apparently.
Yeah, Oxygen.
It's actually a miracle that pauses.
Checking out the builds here, making sure they're good to go as we'll get ready here for game number 1, making sure they're all set up and ready. But talking a little bit more about these compositions, the late game is quite terrifying here for Tempest. Get to Zeratul level 16, the Hanzo scatter arrows that should be destroying, but also their early game, if they can get stacked up on that Diablo, I can see them invading, but you have to watch out for that global.
Yeah, I mean, in general, there's just a couple of factors to it. You mentioned the global, and that's a really good one, because as the map opens up and towards the late game, you get usually a lot of value out of it. But I also want to highlight again that Judy on the front line did so much work, and if you have the Maiev from Sniper to just follow up with a cage and you get that good taunt in, Zeratul has to be so careful. If he gets a little bit too close, he's going to be down immediately. So both sides have really a couple of fantastic tools to get those kills, especially in the later stage of the game.
It all comes down to who is prepared for the day. All right, here, we'll go into game number 1 as our teams are about to clash here in the middle, and we'll see if Judy will be looking for that pick that he typically tries to find, especially in the early game. He can even try to grab that Diablo.
Yeah, when we're talking about level 10, this is all where a lot of the combos also come online, but up to that point, it's all about the engage, and here once again the flip. Sign is already in trouble. Judy looking for the opportunity, but Deckard Cain with a seal on the ground as the two teams are trading blows.
Big scroll and also down. And that jet propulsion made sure that Diablo did not get cleaned up, but you see that threat that is available for Miracle if they can find the moments to go in for those picks. Now, let's talk about these teams and how they have played in the last year. When you look over to Miracle, they've always gone for these big 5-man groups. Hang on though, Tempest coming in the top left, they go for a kill. A burrow comes out, but that's gonna be first blood.
Great burrow here, but it's just not enough. The collapse onto the top lane, and Dahaka falls first victim in the game. Miracle showing some nerves here. No communication about the rotation, not really communicating vision here. And Tempest off to another good start against an opponent who names them as their kryptonite.
It really feels like the thoughts that were echoed by Miracle a couple weeks ago when we talked to them and said, who is the one team that you hope that you can dodge in BlizzCon? And they said Tempest. Tempest somehow, in every single way, can pull the rug from underneath our feet, and we just cannot get stabilized. And Tempest already showing that they find those picks.
And it's one of these weird things when you have just an opponent that is always a final boss against you, even when you are on a huge momentum train. And Miracle, when you look at the group stage, they played really well, whereas Tempest was struggling. And it was echoed by the players earlier as we've been talking about it. But that early kill here for Tempest definitely setting the tone as Miracle is starting to go for a bit of an invade, but Sign already sniffing it out, and Hyde is just close behind with Lockdown rotating in too.
It's always a curious thing when that skill block suddenly becomes a mental block. And Miracle, you could argue that's what's really happening for them. Miracle going for an aggressive play on the bottom right, but as you mentioned, with Blaze rotating down, they're going to go ahead and grab the experience instead, while Dahaka continues to back forth the top and middle lane. Now the problem is Miracle actually is not in a spot where they're able to get a pick on the bottom lane. Tempest able to take those zappers, can now play safe.
For me personally, a lot of this is going to come down to the synergy that Tempest can display later. When we're looking at that Hanzo area in particular, you can either follow that up with an Apocalypse, you can lead with it, you have the Void Prison there. So there's so many different talents and especially heroic abilities that synergize extremely well, but you have to execute it properly, and that's going to be the big challenge for Tempest here.
A safer route too, if Diablo wants to, is moving that Lightning Breath. We've been seeing that more and more against MIF Tether. As soon as she comes in for the engage, you suddenly make that engage that you dictate, burn down those bunkers and such, and then go for that forward aggressive play. Because the damage of the bunker has been on display this entire tournament.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen so many kills with the flamethrowers alone that happen just all over the place, and especially like the last hits that he can oftentimes bring in just as a target is trying to get out of range can be fantastic here. But so far, teams have taken it a bit easy. First objective is spawning, and with those altars on the map, this is now the opportunity to also force maybe some of these fights around MIF engage.
Yeah, typically with a global being available for a team, you're looking to grab 2 of these altars, but Tempest is trying to prevent that from happening. Already bringing Zeratul down from the rotation on the top side. Might even bring Blaze as well. Blaze in the middle lane, keep an eye on Dahaka, who's showing himself on the top side.
Yeah, Dahaka, of course, always with the option to burrow down, back down, but Blue Beetle is going to get it through. No, not quite. Nice interrupt here by Deckard Cain. Still the poke from Tempest, trying to lay this for as long as possible, as we see Blaze now rotating up. This is still Miracle with a chance to burrow Dahaka down if they want to, but so far they're still waiting for MIF, who's currently busying in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is a key point for Dahaka to decide, okay, are we wanting to fight? When Judy's positioning, I'm assuming they're going to want to. Judy already mounting up, moving forward, and seeing if Tempest is going to contest. Tempest, aware that Dahaka was missing on the map, decide to go ahead and allow for Luby to start the channel. They're trying to get the interrupt, and they get it.
But they had also to stack the cooldown here, so that's a bit of an issue. Deckard Cain is ready once again, and the rotations are still happening. MIF making the way down to the bot lane. Now Zeratul still stuck in the mid lane, and the 2 top laners still busy on that top lane trying to get another wave in. But so far, Miracle, it just seems a matter of time until they get that.
Tempest just really showing how scary Hanzo and Deckard Cain can be when it comes to interrupting an objective. Time and time again, just slowing it down. And the best part here, too, is that we're building towards that level 10, which is where Tempest is going to bring those heroics on to get that team fight.
Yeah, 7 Zion here comes to engage. Diablo charging in deep. Good is in trouble, and he goes down. Hanzo eliminated in the fight as the brawl just continues, and we're going for Hyde this time. He's low. Sniper wants him, and he gets him.
Blue Beetle at the same time trying to stay alive, getting potions for himself. Lockdown coming in for the kill. Little Blue Beetle by himself. Oh, no! He gets picked at the last second. Tempest losing 3, and Miracle are able to grab that team fight.
That is definitely a bit of a boost in confidence that we have from Miracle now. A 3-for-1 trade looking strong here. Zeratul trying to make the plays, but then in the end falling himself. And now Tempest, of course, not only losing out on the altar, but also immediately losing the camp as Miracle is using that dominant position on the map to grab the mercenaries.
Now, there was a trade-off, obviously. Blaze was pushing in that top lane. There are minions that are not getting cleaned up by Dahaka.
Yeah.
So experience is going to be missed. So even though we had multiple kills for Miracle, Tempest is going to stay right there when it comes to experience, moving towards that level 9, and it's all about those sapper cans.
And also on 7, we haven't really talked about talents too much just yet, but the intercession of Whitemane coming in is just so crucial when you're going up against those engages through Diablo, through Blaze, when they're trying to make these plays here. So that's going to be a huge tool later on as well. Judy again, just toying around with Diablo as we're seeing the rest of Miracle grabbing that cam. So again, a nice anchoring of the play by the front line.
The things that Garrosh can do, sitting in a 1v3, threatening their opponents. Yeah. Judy all by himself in the bushes, but it doesn't matter. 9.25 for both of our teams, moving to 9.5, while one single altar will spawn in the bottom. Blaze desperately working on that level 10 on the top, while Nitrogen goes in for a drag, but Zeratul blinks away.
Yeah, you can really tell that it's tough for Lockdown on Zeratul now to have any impact just yet. They're really waiting for those heroic abilities. And and he's struggling a bit to pressure those backliners. Most of the time, it's actually Miracle that communicates extremely well where Zeratul is and then try to pressure him. You can see it here again, a Sniper is already attempting to zone lockdown out.
But that has always been the trend for Miracle. They find picks, they find themselves ahead of Tempest, but Tempest always finds that one moment to turn the game upside down. Will they find that moment with level 10 here? We will be seeing as Dehaka soaks the middle lane and Miracle starts to poke.
The wombo combo potential from Tempest definitely coming online with the Horror abilities now, but also the taunt for Garrosh. Hugely important if you follow up with that kill. Bottom altar still on the map, and Dehaka at the top side now getting that experience lead, or at least trying to, for Miracle.
Trying to double soak something that you can pull off on Towers of Doom. Zeratul will peel off and make sure to stop that from being too much there, from not being able to handle it. Sign goes in for an aggressive play, but Judy drops down the Indomitable.
Judy's playing so well on the front line throughout this entire tournament. Once again, just baiting out those cooldowns, interrupting Dami here. We're seeing the Banshee used as well, trying to get those interrupts over and over again. Not going for Hyperion. Can definitely be the right choice here. You get that interrupt potential, but you give up some of that siege power that you have with the Hyperion.
Yeah, and that frontline battle right now between Judy and Sign has been such a desperate one for each one, trying to find those picks, but nobody's getting one.
Yeah, and Tempest is actually in a position where they're running out of time. They need to do something since Dehaka is double soaking. So the rotation of Zeratul into the mid lane is trying to compensate for that. Miracle is really just buying that time and getting small advantages in experience while still looking for good engage at the bot lane
It's
fight.
such a hard thing to pull off here for Tempest to get that fight you're looking for, because you're wanting to make sure that Sniper spreads out that tether first. Once the tether gets used, then you can jump forward, but they have to spread out constantly to make sure they don't get pulled into a trap.
Absolutely. If they don't spread out, then that Void Prison can always be there when Zeratul makes the re-engage happen. This is why you see Jimmy on the side most of the time. He's really trying to make sure that there's no chance for that Void Prison into an APOC, into an arrow. We also have, of course, a stay a while listen. There's so many setup tools for Tempest.
Tempest trying to force a fight, though, and Sign steps forward here, looking for a combo. Lock down the top left, hit Sniper here. He has that VP, but to get out.
Sniper gets barely out. He has to stay on and listen. The Void Prison is there. They follow APOC. They're going for it. They're trying to get the kill. He's slow, but he does go down. Here comes Diablo. They're trying to find the kill. Sniper on the retreat.
He can't get him tossed over here. Sign, unfortunately, not finding the moment. Now Sniper's the one in trouble. He's trying to get away. There's a fall, but the big jet propulsion comes in from Dami.
Beautiful play-by-play. So here comes Lockdown. He wants to kill, and he gets it. He takes Whitemane down.
That's one right there. Can it be a second one here? Sniper trying to stay alive here. Gets tossed away by Judy. Sign on the back left corner. Getting hit with the groundbreaker as well. They're so low. Judy tosses and gets its own kill.
Hanzo goes down. He's not the only one. Frankel dies next, and it's a triple. We have 3 down, the 3-for-1 trade. Tempest playing out of their mind in this fight.
And meanwhile, there is still an altar available, so now they can rotate down to the bottom. I love how Tempest opened up that team fight. They moved over to the Sappers and said, come fight us, Miracle. We want some of you.
Miracle is actually still looking at this. They're trying to get the drag against Sign. But it was Dami with a jet propulsion that was just so effective. Just as we see Miracle pulling back, trying to save everyone, that jet propulsion comes through, hits home, Lockdown goes in, gets the kills, and this is the game that we've been hoping for. 5 kills against 4 so far, and both teams on eye level.
It's a weird conundrum too, because I'm looking over to Reina right now and I'm looking at his heroic here. If you had a Hyperion in that fight, suddenly you get a couple of pigs, you control space, but at the same time, Koreans love to run into that Banshee. They love the ability to check around bushes and be able to walk in appropriately.
It's not only for the scout, he got so many interrupts with the Hyperion as Tempest was trying to channel the altar.
True.
It's definitely that trade-off, especially when you have the cage on Maiev. You want to have something at DPS. Talking about damage, Sign gets flipped in here, but they're turning it around against Judy, whereas once again, using the Indomitable, gets for the challenge and lures them in. Here comes the attempt for a cage to stay in while listen. The bunker overlapping here as Tempest is trying to move back.
Perfect timing for Nitrogen 2 coming in and finding Lockdown, but also getting the big sound on top of Hyde. Hyde trying to get away. Big Warden's cage and a VP. Here comes the APOC 2. It lands on 3. Sign moves in. They're trying to find a pick, but Tempest is running away with the tails between their legs.
Tempest runs the combo, but they're losing place and they're losing Diablo. Losing the souls here. Miracle turning it around. What an amazing turnaround here by them.
And now you have a squishy Diablo. Souls have been reset. He will be back, but it makes the game much harder in the mid game. You have to restock those souls, but so far, Miracle has done their best to stretch Tempest thin, keep them down this bottom lane, which will make it hard for Diablo to rebuild up.
An absolutely fantastic setup here. You could see that the damage was just missing after the combo with the Void Prison and the Apocalypse. It was really the idea of Tempest Tempest to get these kills and then just snowball that fight. But Miracle, they forced it in the first place. They finally got onto Deckard Cain and were dropping the Warden's Cage and then following it up with the damage. Great play here once more, and already Tempest moving in, looking for that sign. Needs to be careful now.
Score is 32-32 behind. There's a tether, there's a taunt, and boom, he falls. Miracle finds a pick, notching on the top left corner, and there is 2 altars for the picking. But Judy, he's not done. He goes in for his own toss.
Judy's having none of it. You're not getting away from this one. Blaze getting tossed in, and that's another kill in the hands of Miracle, now leading with 8-5, and they get the additional altar. Another one still active at the bottom. Miracle definitely showing how strong they were in the group stage. Another kill for them. They take down Hanzo, and they go straight for the bell tower.
You will not be getting these altars when Judy is on duty. Finding multiple kills, toss people left to right, and Miracle finds another bell tower. They take full map control.
And just look at their experience lead. They're nearly hitting level 16. The talent advantage alone is going to be fantastic for them. Map control in their hands, about to have the extra talents, and they are absolutely dominating right now.
Sapper's being grabbed now. Tempest slowing down the game a little bit, has to restock those souls, but Miracle looking better and better. Good saving grace though for Tempest. Level 16 Zeratul. We always talk about it week after week. The power that you get when you're able to find that big VP, get your self-contained wombo combo is useful for teams when they get that level.
As you said, Tempest, they have to slow it down. They need level 16. They want it not only for Zeratul, but they're realizing we don't win these brawls. We don't have anything here. We need to wait until we are on even talents again, and then we can try to set up that combo once more to try and get the kill here. The problem for them is really losing bell towers on the map now puts them more and more on the back foot.
Don't forget, too, the 3 altar phase is about to pop up, too.
Exactly.
So they want to find that 16 before then so they can at least slow down their opponent and get that poke available. And they do have that poke. You look over to Blaze, you look over to Hanzo. If they spread out appropriately and make sure not get picked off, they should be fine. But for now, it's all about patience.
Miracle just echoes once again how strong they came out of that group stage. Yes, in league play, they haven't done anything against Tempest. Every time they faced them, they lost without even taking a map. But this is different. This is on the big stage at BlizzCon right now. And Miracle comes with all the confidence from the group stage and go up against an opponent that is now struggling to stay in the game.
Miracle pushing this bottom lane, trying to find a pick. Judy stepping into the kill zone a little bit, taking some damage.
He was thinking about it.
He was like, hey, I've been doing pretty well here, but again, being on the big stage, you don't want to overstep. 20 seconds we'll be having this next altar spawn, and will be a single one here on the bottom.
Blue beat probably, dude, calm down, calm down.
Calm down, buddy.
Stay here, we don't need the next kill. But here's the 16 now. This is the chance for Tempest. This is really the moment when Tempest can try, okay, guys. This is the moment. We have Zeratul, we have the damage. Let's go and try and set the combo up. And this is now on Miracle. They need to split again. They can't fall for that Void Prison.
So far, though, Miracle is really controlling these chokes, and you want to do this here. If you're trying to slow down this altar and buy time for Dahaka, hold those chokes. But Tempest bully their way in on that left side, using those bronze that we've talked about on the analysis desk here. Lockdown immediately stepping you up and starting the channel on the altar.
Once again, they're trying to go for an engage here. Jet Propulsion misses, though. Sniper is there. Here comes the VP and the APOC. It hits, even though it was a bit iffy, but the fight is transferring to the left of the bunker. It's immediately dropped by Tempest.
Perfect agent there by Blue Beetle, but here's a Warden Cage around the bunker as Snipers are trying to find Tether, and he finds a big one. Deckard Cain falls, and next will be Diablo.
Maiev just wrecking through Tempest, taking Deckard and Diablo down, and they're going for more. They're taking 4 down. Zeratul falls, and so does Hanzo. Miracle not taking any prisoners here, just obliterating Tempest in that fight.
Not taking prisoners, but they'll take 5 more points, and that'll drop down Tempest to 16 on their core. 32 to 16. They immediately move over towards the boss. They'll grab 4 more shots and have full map control.
Miracle looks unstoppable at this point. Dahaka already taking control over the bottom map here, making sure that a bell tower is not attacked by Blaze either, as the rest of the team is moving uncontested towards the boss. That's 4 more shots and experience. It's a 2-level lead at this point, Trixler.
And look at this change up too. Miracle really wanting to snowball this here. They had Dahaka in the bottom right, watching that bell tower, clearing it up. They're grabbing the sappers on the top side so they can take down that bell tower and make Tempest ping pong around the map.
We've been talking about how Cyan throughout the entire tournament had a tough time, and now you look at him at Diablo. He's down to 37 souls again because he just died once more. So he's in the spot where he's again squishy. Here comes another big fight. Miracle, of course, is looking for that right now. Can they get another kill here? Tempest desperately actually trying to use another battle before their opponent hits level 20.
I can understand wanting to fight there, though, from Tempest, but that 20 coming around, as you just mentioned, this is a great spot for them if they can get Miracle in a choke. You got the piercing arrows in for Hanzo, but Miracle realizing this, they get away from the choke, they watch this bell tower, and they use their space. Perfect textbook play by them while they let Dahaka so 20.
Judy is always looking for the play here. He's always anchoring the front, and you have Sniper just sniffing around the edges, seeing, can I pull someone in? Can I get a bit of damage? Can I get those cooldown reductions? And he's playing fantastic. The last fight, most of the damage was just on him. He had the perfect hits there, and now once more we're seeing the triple auto stage. And this could even be the end of it, especially now then Starmie finds himself in trouble early on already, but they're turning it around, they're going for Judy, and all of a sudden he's in a pickle.
There's that VP. Will the APOC be able to follow it up? Here it is from Sign. Booma connects, but Garrosh has actually fallen on the left side. Tempest is able to find their pick. Can they get more?
Tempest wants to turn it. They want to come back here. They're going in, but they're losing Hanzo. It's a 1-for-1 trade as the bunker goes down, saves Tempest for the time being, but Miracle is looking for kills.
Starmie on the left side, he's low and low on mana, but Sniper's trying to clean him up. He's trying to escape. Miracle able to turn this around. They're even chasing Diablo on the top side. A drag connects, and now the ultras should be able to be grabbed by Miracle. Have they actually just taken the game?
It's a triple. Tempest is on the run, and they lose Diablo and Blaze once again. Lockdown even, low on health, trying to hide here. You can run, you can't hide. The altars are getting channeled. 7 more points on the side of Tempest as we are seeing Nitrogen going straight for the altar.
On the left side, Lockdown trying to slow it down, but this is not going to happen. This point is mute there. Sniper's able to push him away, and the rest of Miracle will be able to rotate over. Down to 2 shots on the core here for Tempest. Lockdown trying to buy some time, trying to get flashy here, but Miracle knows this game is done. One more kill comes in, one more channel on the altar, and Miracle is able to grab the victory over Tempest.
Miracle, they get the shots, and what a dominant performance here. At the beginning of the game, you see Tempest rotate topside, they get the first blood in for just a second. You think maybe, just maybe they're in their own head right now. Maybe again we're seeing Miracle struggle against an opponent that they had tough times to in the past, but then all of a sudden they just focus, they win the team fights, and after level 10, all these engages, even with a wombo combo, Tempest just never got the upper hand.
So just like, why does Judy keep getting Garrosh? I'm serious, man. He's ridiculous, Wolf.
I checked his win rate across his entire career as a tank player. He has a 75% win rate, including this event. He's also was before this 75% win rate on the Hero 3-1. Now he's 4-1 at HGC Finals. So as mentioned in the draft, why do people keep leaving it open? They picked the Diablo over the Garrosh here for comfort for Sign, and it costs them big. Again, he's saving heroes, he's making engages, he's setting up taunts, he's so tanky. They just can't let this guy have this hero. It needs to be banned.
And yeah, talking about ban, they banned Johanna instead. They looked at this and they said, Johanna is more of a concern for us than Garrosh, and they just underestimated him apparently. And given the group stage, how does that still happen?
To be fair, Tempest does have victories on top of Miracle with a 6-0 before. There was a 0% win rate for Miracle before this match, so I can understand the thought process, but going into game number 2, yeah, there better be some adjustments.
Yeah, there was a 3-0 win for Tempest too, so this is a really big deal for Miracle that they're sort of able to shake off some of those demons from the league play.
Yeah, I think it's just important to remember that that was then and this is now.
Right.
And this is the BlizzCon stage, right? This is the HGC Finals. So I just feel like the adjustments need to be made at this point. And Tempest already tried the Zeratul adjustment that we've seen a lot of teams, especially Western teams, find success with here at the HGC Finals. But in this map, it just simply didn't work out.
Well, they get a little bit of time to figure out that adjustment because we're going to hear a word from our sponsors after that game too.
The 2018 HGC Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Corsair, T-Mobile, Samsung SSD, and NVIDIA.
Game 1 in the rematch between Tempest and Miracle, and for Tempest, a lot was relying on their ability to execute combos, Void Prison with the Apocalypse, but a big thing for me was Hyde and his inability to be able to execute good stay-a-whiles along with those combos trick.
Well, one of it was because Blue Beetle was hitting amazing ages. He immediately followed up there. You had the armor right away, which meant that suddenly Miracle can decide, do we want to turn around and continue this fight, or do we want to back up? But I agree with you. Hyde not being able to find those big stay-a-while listens, that's a very difficult thing that is going to ruin your team. So hopefully that adjustment is going to be happening, but at the same time, we keep talking about the garage. If that garage is allowed through one more time, I feel like Miracle right now is on a steamroll.
Well, we've been talking so much about how important this rematch is for Miracle, even beyond just moving on, but this really is a grudge. Because Miracle, who had gotten to a point in league play where they were not only defeating Ballistics, which is what happened in playoffs, they beat Gen G, guys. The one team that could consistently defeat them was Tempest. And when we asked why to Miracle, they said, we can team fight, but Tempest, they team fight even better. And Wolf, it just no longer feels like that's the case after game one.
I feel like there were a lot of moments where we saw VP used defensively. There were some overextensions by Tempest. Like, it feels like Tempest is literally living in the past in terms of their drafting, in terms of their execution of draft. I mean, it was so textbook what we saw there from Frankel. Hide in the bush, send the Banshee over, delay. They've got the Dahaka. Dahaka was let through the draft again. Everything is, there's like nothing weird about what Miracle is doing. Everything is standard. But there is that feeling like they can't even team fight better than Miracle now. So how can they win this best of three? Like, it's like, this is the change of the guard. You know, this is maybe the second best team in Korea now. We have to think about that as potentially like a fact, not an opinion anymore.
Pressure was a big point for me because you look at Zeratul and normally you are trying to really create not only kill opportunities through the wombo combo, but you want to pressure the backline. And we saw such a great communication on the side of Miracle wherever Zeratul is, that it was so difficult for Lockdown to get anywhere close to a target. And you want to land that VP to set something up, but every time there was a choke point situation, Miracle just moved back, let them move in, and said, okay, we're going to take him on open space. We're going to just simply move apart. And then you have Sniper, who does the exact opposite. He's the one who all of a sudden finds those aggressive pressure points where he can jump on a target. How often did we see him jump on height, get the pull in, and all of a sudden you see the cage coming down, big team fight, and they walk away with 2 to 3 kills?
Well, the reason why we see such great team fights from Korean teams is because this is a region known from their for their micro game, their ability to team fight. Gen G, such an exceptional micro-intensive team. And looking at the teams that are here at the HGC finals, we could see total team fight time in opening week. The one was at the top. We expect that, right, from a Chinese team. But after that, Tempest. And Tempest giving those opportunities to the one is a very reason why the one trick were able to get a game off of Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a brawl too. But yeah, when you're looking at the regions, I think you can look at it as China, probably the most aggressive when it comes to brawling in those fights. And then, of course, Korea afterwards, North America, and then Europe. You're going to see a lot of aggression when you have these regions facing off each other. And we're going to get it between mirror matchups consistently.
In the last game, we saw 11 minutes average time. The last game was 14 minutes of team fighting. So, you know, it was pretty fun for you guys to commentate. It was fun for me to listen to. It was fun for us to watch. But I guess it kind of depends on the map too, right? You're going to get a lot of brawls in Towers of Doom, and we'll have to see where we're going and if those kinds of brawls opportunities can continue for both of these teams. But I love the idea that Miracle might be able to finally shake off Tempest, because when we had asked them, you know, it was like us and then Tempest, and I can't remember who said that, but it was just like covering it, because it's always felt like Tempest are the better team fighters, and it's just no longer the case, Kaldar.
I would absolutely agree with it. I mean, you saw it in the last fight. There were even a couple of moments where we talked a lot about the synergy. You have the arrow, you have the Epoch, the Void Prison. In some of them, they nearly screwed it up. You all of a sudden, the Void Prison coming out just after the Apocalypse is there. They still managed to get the hits, though, and the stuns, but then nothing happens. Twice, I think, in a row, they executed the combo, and then there's no follow-up with damage. There's no kill, and all of a sudden you just see Miracle saying, like, well, I guess we take that fight now.
I think the big change up here, though, for Miracle is Dahaka coming in here. Typically, you look at Miracle, and they're always converging on their opponents, and Tempest was able to punish that with better fighting in the past, but Dahaka suddenly allowed for that 4-man to back up, play a little bit safer, and allowed for them to finally give those picks that they actually want to have compared to what we've seen in the past.
Well, I've got news, and good news for you brawling fans, because we are headed to Battlefield of Eternity for Game 2 between these teams. Chosen by Miracle, Tempest wanting first pick to make their last stand, potentially, depending how the next game goes. But Battlefield of Eternity, Korea versus Korea. Wolf, break it down.
I mean, this has been an incredible map for Phase 2 for Miracle. They've had some great last stands on this, including their defenses of their core while down 2 keeps against Gen G. Having that comeback with no keeps down for Gen G is one of the more famous games from League play in Korea this year. And you know, they've been focused more on macro recently, you know, to further that point you guys were just discussing about this team being known for team fighting, then transitioning into Dahaka control. It feels to me that there's been a shift of the meta this entire tournament of teams that go for the dive, teams that go for aggression, overall are starting to fail, with the exception of Dignitas. They ran the solo support Avatar, crushed Tempest with that. But besides that, it feels like the teams that are being more passive, playing the macro game, and looking for counter engages, rather than the actual dive themselves, are finding more success.
Is this a Hanzo? Is this a Maiev?
It's got to be a Hanzo.
I mean, first of all, can we appreciate the Garrosh ban?
Yeah, we certainly can.
We should all appreciate that Garrosh ban. Talking about tanks, though, both teams, like Tyrael here, that could come into play later on.
Leaving Hanzo open.
All right.
I love how right out of the bat they are banning Garrosh. The last time they didn't even make it into the bans at all, and right now they're saying, okay, first ban, like, we're done with this. But yeah, with Hanzo open, of course, you want to get him great engage potential through the arrow. You can raise the Immortal. He's fantastic for the poke. But so is Serana. She's a huge asset on any map these days, but on Battlefield of Eternity even more so. And you have the setup with Diablo, so already aggressive. You have a lot of kill opportunities here if you execute your combos correctly, and you can also like spec straight into an Immortal race if you have some follow-up damage behind it.
Feels like this is a composition where I think Sign might have to play Tyrael. The Garrosh is removed. You have the more defensive composition with the Hanzo, and Anubrag is the other hero that Sign likes to play, but it doesn't suit this composition. It suits a more aggressive, more dive-oriented composition, not a Hanzo scatter arrow style. So I think Miracle is probably giving a lot of consideration to that Tyrael ban here that you brought up earlier, because it's just so powerful with this. You already have Blaze as well for disengage, the Aegis that Whitemane can provide, as we saw with great success on towers. So, I mean, this is, I mean, if they get forced to play something other than the Tyrael, then I think they're going to struggle. They banned the hammer instead, so furthering that idea of making sure they don't have the ultimate composition to grind away at those Immortals. We're still following the same logic.
Battleground. Do you feel like Sign could run Murden here?
I was thinking about that too, because you have a jet propulsion follow-up. I mean, we have seen a lot of that Tyrael and Blaze combo in the group stage, actually, where you can, like the Western Clash, the first one this year, layer your defensive tools with the Sanctification and the Bunker. That can really help depending on what you run as the additional damage dealer if you want to engage there. Oftentimes you've seen that in the past with the Greymane. That can actually work on Battlefield of Eternity. Not necessarily the pick that you have to play here, but if you are going away from that idea, then a Murden would be a good choice too.
Well, there's that Thrall that we've been looking for. One of the 2 out of 4 that you typically get when you have Miracle getting wins here. You have the Diablo and you have the Thrall mixed in here, which is usually pretty darn good for them. 70% of their wins and above have been because of this combo being together. And then, of course, Raynor coming in for Frankel.
A lot of that is Sniper. When
Yeah.
you put Sniper on something that is easier to kill, that's when things are easier for opponents of Miracle. But if you can get him something that can turn fights, like with the Sundering, or even the Maiev that we saw in the last game, things get a lot better.
It's going to have to be a flanking Thrall. It's going to have to be an engaged Thrall. However, not going to be the more defensive setup in most cases against this style. And they're going to take ATC. So Sign, he's had some inconsistency on Tyrael over the years, shall we say. And I think that the ETC is something that's more comfortable for him, but I don't know if it's as safe against a Thrall, for example. Tyrael could set up a Sanct to prevent an entire engage, whereas ETC is limited in what he can do. He's not going to find an easy mosh pit here, and he's not going to be able to deny that Sunder flank.
ETC on this map, this is one of ETC's better maps for sure though, so you have at least a tool where you can try and get someone into an Immortal Stun, push him out, slide through. You have also him comboed now with a Blaze, which gives an additional layer of defense after level 10, because ETC usually struggles that you can just burst him down pretty easily, and as an ETC player you have to be very careful that you don't take any poke damage.
Yeah.
With the Blaze, you mitigate that weakness a little bit. But yeah, Sign has to be playing on point here if they want to get a good value out of it. But it's a good map for him, and it's a decent composition also for an ETC.
His job is to create space here. Just make sure that Hanzo has time to put out those scatter arrows, especially post level 7, and he can do that. But the room for error is pretty darn low. If you make a mistake, ETC pops just like that.
Sign earlier in the group stage played Stage Dive ETC, correct?
Yeah, it was really weird, and it didn't work out. I don't think we're going to see that. I mean, that Stage Dive pick was so weird to me that I almost wondered if it was a misclick back in the group stage. I think that Miracle has absolute control over this. ETC is dated because back when ETC was super popular, there weren't great poke heroes like the Raynor, and now they have the Tyrande. If he gets caught with any Lunar Flares, he is going to be, if he doesn't die, so worthless. He's going to have to Hearth Home or tap. So I don't have a lot of faith that this ETC was better than the Tyrael.
No room for error for Sign, and no room for error for Tempest, as they must win this to stay in the tournament as they go into Game 2 on Battlefield of Eternity versus Miracle.
Caldor Miracle has finally broken that streak against Tempest. They got that first win, but now the next step, winning a series.
It looks like they can maybe pull that off, though. The amount of CC that we have on Miracle's lineup, also with Thrall in the mix for the Wolves, with Diablo engaged, a Tyrande follow-up, and Arthas as well for Howling Blast and the slows alone. There's so much CC available for that team that whenever you get caught, you are forced into a fight that if you are Tempest, you might not want to take.
The only thing they're kind of missing here, they have Diablo that can force the engages, but if you have your front line watching for that Diablo, typically Hanzo has enough space to win those races. So we're going to watch that front line, but here we go. Straight in the match on the left side. In the blue, it will be Judy on Diablo, Franco on Raynor, Blue Beetle on Tyrande, Nachogen on Arthas, and Sniper to show off the Thrall.
And over to the right side of the map, their opponent down one game in the series. Height on Whitemane for Team Tempest. Sign is on ETC. Dami on Blaze. We're seeing Lockdown on Hanzo in this game. And last but not least, it's good on Phoenix. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Tempest!
Speaking of Tempest and Sign in particular, level 1 changed up for that talent. Going into the block party, typically you want to do this against high auto attack heroes that are looking to burn you down. And with Raynor and Thrall on the opposing side, not a bad choice to pick up.
Yeah, and there's always, of course, the argument to be made if you're going for Prog Rock and you have to get those globes. This is a 2-lane map. Yes, if you dominate the objective, you get that completed a lot faster. There's always that back and forth when it comes to a discussion of which talent to take here. We have Whitemane as the backup, so they should be able to create that space, as we said before. A lot of this hinges on Sign, his positioning and his playmaking abilities.
Now, Tempest has Phoenix hanging back in that top right corner, seeing Arthur can get aggressive here, but Thrall is actually rotating up.
Exactly, Thrall is actually, in this case, still holding his level 1 too. Now, we've seen Crash Lightning on this map in particular popping up a lot more recently, but you can still go into the Echo of Elements here if you want to have those extra pokes, but he goes for the Crash Lightning, he wants the stacks.
Sniper loves those stacks. Good gets locked down, but able to warp away. High provides the heals as well, as Sign stepped up with a power slide.
Exactly, Sign immediately there, and that was so important. That could have been the first blood for Miracle, but Sign sees what happens, slides through and says immediately, like, not on my watch, moves away from it. So great job by him preventing that kill against Phoenix.
A great power slide, but also shows the weakness of ETC. If he's not able to power slide aggressively forward, even though that engage came their way like most tanks, he has to escape away. So Miracle still gets that free trade-off of damage, and they don't get punished for it. Most tanks would have stood up and tried to get a pick instead.
Yeah, now of course here, still the poke happening. Look at Sign, he's already anchoring the side here. Judy wants to sniff him out though. He's moving in, good penetrating round again, as especially Frankel was of course a bit cautious here. He sees Sign coming in, he's like, well, I need to be careful here. If he gets the power slide, I might be in trouble. So preemptively just shoots that out immediately.
So a quick update right now, that Crash Lightning already sitting at 3 stacks so far, but the big one here is Lockdown with the Scatter Arrow quest at level 1, already at 9 stacks there. He is moving up quickly as he hits a 10 stack.
They're really impressive here on his part, so great moves on Hanzo, but the poke down to the bottom is still providing a lot of stacks for Sniper. And of course, this is even before we're seeing any kind of Immortal Ray. This is fantastic for him. The more those stacks he picks up early on the Crash Lightning, the easier the completion is going to be, especially once we're seeing those little stalemates in the middle. But for now, it's the big fight over the camp to the bot lane.
Dami already rotating from the top lane too. Tempest wants to grab this, but Miracle spots him. They'll back up and give it away. Play it safe here. You can clear that out easily. You got Raynor, you got Thrall. Just back up and have Arthas pushing the top instead.
The one thing that you could also definitely have done in the case of Miracle is on level 1 going to Spell Armor, but we have the Celestial Attunement on Tyrande. So the Jet Propulsion, the engage through Hanzo later on, and his TC in particular, you really want to be careful here. Having that double cleanse available is going to be absolutely great for Miracle, despite the fact that they themselves also run a huge amount of CC.
Yeah, very important to make sure you get rid of that CC because of Hanzo. If he said it will set that Scatter Arrow, burn you down, those things are very hard to deal with, especially with Tyrande even providing those heals. Now here we go, straight into the Immortal phase, and this is where we're going to see that Hanzo be a bit of a pain. Lockdown, already burning down this Immortal, but you have Miracle stepping up and put some damage out too.
Yeah, Miracle definitely have to prove themselves here on the objective. Also the Frostwolf pack taken on Thrall on level 4. We've seen it a lot from Rich at the Eastern Clash and also here at the tournament, trying to get those stacks together, the cooldown reduction, and also making it a little bit more easier to maintain your mana pool here. But we have a nearly even halftime show here as both the teams now aiming straight for the objective, but it's Hanzo on the right side trying to make the plays while the rest of the team defends.
A prime setup when you Hanzo on your team. Leave him by himself by the Hyde stepping up, trying to slow down some time here. While Nacho continues to chase him down. Good backing up as well to chase down that Arthas. But at the same time, Miracle's working their damage. Sniper stepping up and getting that Wind Fury in.
Yeah, once again though, we have the engage attempt here by Dami with the jet propulsion, not quite following it through. But it is Miracle who loses the first Immortal race. The kill though against Blaze here happening as Reyna delivers the final shot.
That'll be a nice pick there for Miracle to get them in the perfect spot for defense, even sending Sniper back for some mana to make sure he's there, and also working on those Crash Lightning stacks. And speaking about that, more stacks coming in. Level 4 getting picked up, that Frostwolf pack, trying to make sure you get that cooldown reduction and of course that mana reduction.
Level 4 also the True Shot aura taken on Tyrande here now in this case. Now the Immortal, of course, still low shield, and with Blaze now spawning and moving to the top lane, there's still a 4 versus 4 situation at the bottom of the map. Tempest is hoping to at least get the wall here, take those 2 towers down, and maybe get the level 7 talent a bit earlier than their opponent. But Miracle, they have quite a bit of poke here. They're already using Frankel with those auto attacks on Reyna to burn it down quickly, and they can always rely on Tyrande for the same.
Gosh, I love that True Shot aura pickup. Sure, the damage is great, but also that reset on the Harvest Mark gives you a chance to burn down the Immortal. And there it is, cleaned up. We've been seeing a lot in Europe. That first Immortal has actually gotten to a point where it's getting half a 4 or even a 4 if they can find a pick. Miracle stops that in its tracks completely by clearing it up thanks to Tyrande.
And especially after game 1, you have to respect Miracle here if you're Tempest. You have to just realize this is going to be a tough road ahead. But still, if you can have that engage with ETC and you have the quick follow-up, getting those kills will be great for you. Whenever you manage that around an objective, your combo just excels at burning that Immortal down and getting a huge pressure play through the top lane.
Both our teams building towards level 10, but neck and neck in experience, 7.25. We should be around 9.25, 9.5 when that second Immortal phase comes up. I want to see who's being into that race first. And of course, what heroics we're going into. You have that Dragon's Arrow, that big jet propulsion to follow up. If Tempest can get there before their opponents just barely, they should be able to find a pick and continue to get that race.
You can see Judy there the entire time, just super high if you're looking for that play, and you can't blame him after game number 1. He absolutely excelled there. And he's sitting at 90 souls too, so he's actually pretty tanky at this point. And with the backup from Tyrande, he can definitely try and make these engages happen. But in that 4-man, they're still a little bit reluctant to make those plays. Tempest, once more, gets the bottom mercenary camp.
But Miracle wants to fight. Nitrogen coming in from the top, comes in behind Dami, able to get a nice Howling Blast. Here's Judy going forward, but Sign gets a knockback straight to a turret.
Sign comes in with a stun, and immediately Dami follows it up with the jet propulsion. Judy's in trouble. He's getting healed up and moves out. Both of the teams trading blows here. No one falling, but for Judy, was a close call here.
Quick brawl, but Sign showing what ETC can do. If you overextend, he can knock you into a poor position.
Sniper is sitting at 17 stacks already on the Crash Lightning, and we are only 6.5 minutes into the game. He's really racking up the damage here, and he only needs 13 more to complete the quest.
That mixed with the Ancestral Wrath and something that front line is going to have a terrible time if they're able to buy time around the Immortal phase, which is what Tempest is trying to mitigate with those Hanzo's Dragon Arrows. Same time though, Miracle immediately coming in with that race, and Blue Beetle once again showing off the power of Tyrande.
Yeah, and once more, they are just trading evenly into the halftime show here. So they are now able to focus once again, but we already have a more aggressive play from Tempest. And here comes Miracle, realizing that against Hanzo, they have to make something happen here. Already Sniper in a bit of trouble here on his thrall, trying to move away and barely gets out, but the fight turns on to Phoenix and he falls.
And Nitrogen hugging on to Hyde here, chasing down that white main, trying to get her picked off. Judy trying to help out as well, drops out the fire.
Dami.
Body blocking top left though, Dami in trouble. Lunar Flare comes out, it misses, but the Wolf connects.
And that's the CC we've been talking about. It's not only Hanzo that falls on the right, but we have the kill against Blaze, and we've been talking about it earlier. You have Arthas, the Howling Blast. You have, of course, Thrall with those wolves as well, and then the entire setup around Diablo and Tyrande. So powerful. Miracle going for the kills, using the crowd control, and just picking them up one after another. 4 kills against 0 in game number 2.
Now, it's not worst case scenario for Tempest yet. They have decent clear with that Hanzo dropping down the scatter arrows. The main issue, though, is that 10 lingering here for Miracle. If Miracle is able to grab that level 10 as they're pushing forward, we can see them get aggressive behind this fort, get a couple of picks, suddenly take down a keep wall, and the game can snowball from there.
For Tempest, it's just so tricky in general. I mean, the tools that they're really relying upon right now is, of course, the intercession level 7 for white main, and also the plays of ETC, trying to just create space and interrupt the plays on the side of the opponent. The problem is, intercession is a 60-second cooldown. There's so much CC on the side of Miracle, you don't even know what to use it for, and it's always a bad trade in the end for you, unless there's a massive commitment by Miracle. And so far, Miracle is just running with the advantages. The early level 10 ban, the fort at the top lane goes down, and they can now try and make the play, especially with Sundering being picked up on the side of Thrall. You want that flank.
Exactly. Good news though for Miracle though, it is into melee form. The Immortal is, it steps up and goes by the gate here, rushing straight in for that turret. It's a lockdown. Continue to shell away those arrows, and he is doing so already, down to half health. But Judy, he's feeling hungry. He goes in for good. Who is gonna not get flipped as he's backing up?
Dami wants the flank, but they don't have 10 yet. They need a little bit more experience. He's still poking though, and here come the heroic abilities. This is an opportunity. Maybe they can turn this around. The keep is already low. Dami and Sign are looking for potential to engage. Yes, the stage dive again. The arrow comes in. The stage dive comes through. Where's the slide? Not happening just yet, but here's the lightning breath.
Blue Beetle with a perfect Luna Flare. There goes the bunker at the same time, and HGC's in trouble. The interception comes out, and Sign is able to retreat. The big salvo coming out and putting damage on Miracle.
The salvo coming through, but Dami was too low. He was trying to connect another jet propulsion, but didn't quite hit it. And Miracle just barely moving away from this one. It actually looked great for Miracle at the start, but that salvo turned a lot. That damage output was absolutely what Tempest needed here. And in an ideal world, they could have maybe stopped someone through that jet propulsion, just stop them, get that kill, maybe snowball it a bit more, but they're definitely not out of this game yet.
I gotta shout out Blue Beetle though. Remember that Lunar Flare, right when the stage dive came in there, land the Lunar Flare. Had ETC landed perfectly there, he could have had a power slide, knock back, bring in that damage, and that could have been a completely different team fight.
It's definitely a bit tricky for Sign at the front. You kind of want to go for the mosh pit, but you have a Tyrande against you for the interrupt. You have, of course, also then on the side of Thrall now that Sundering. That's definitely interrupt potential, penetrating round 2. So it is not, you can make a good argument for both cases, and especially when he lands a good stage dive as a follow-up, there's always the opportunity for them to just position properly. But with Tyrande, as you said, paying attention in the last fight, he just got shut down as he was trying to make the play.
Something also to talk about with that stage dive being available is even the way that keep wounded in the top right corner by Miracle, suddenly they have a tool, Tempest here, to defend that. They can split push that the entire time, make sure it doesn't get picked off, and if they ever need ETC in a team fight, he shows up for the stage dive.
It's a really good point. Given their situation on the top lane, that gives them another tool in their arsenal if they need to control that top side push. Once again though, they're going into the Immortal race, and Judy is already eating a little bit of poke damage here. Lockdown is trying to work that in over and over, and bringing Judy down on half HP on his Diablo.
Sniper the entire time and just shelling out that lightning. 27 stacks so far, and of course the Wolves too. He finished off that quest at level 4, making it hard for Tempest to get that engage they're looking for. Every time you have a jet propulsion come in, you suddenly have Sniper turning around and dropping the Wolf and blocking him down.
Exactly, and as you said, he's so close of also completing Crash Lightning. That's even more poke damage that they have here. But Whiteman has done a great job of just keeping everyone alive. But it's that thin line that ETC in particular walks that we pointed out earlier. But Tempest are definitely in a spot where they also have to question, do we engage here? Our opponent nearly has to hit level 13. Do we make the play now? Do we go up against an opponent that might have the talent advantage? Or how do we play this?
Well, so far, they're playing it slow, letting lock down, dropping the arrows, but at the same time, look at Miracle on that bottom left, that Banshee, putting damage on that Immortal too. There is a trade-off happening between these two teams. Tempest comes to the rotation on the bottom left while Judy steps up. He's looking for the fight. Nitrogen finds a nice Howling Buff in the top right corner, but nothing really comes out of Miracle yet.
Crash Lightning is completed. That extra damage is going to be great for them. 13 also in their hands now. Finally, Miracle has the advantage. They have hit a couple of power spikes, and they're trying to transfer that straight into the game here, making the engage. Judy here with a split. The stuns are coming out. The lightning breath is in. Dami falling low and has to drop the bunker.
But Miracle can back up from this. They don't have to go for the full engage. The Starfall comes out, but they do get away. We had that lightning breath come out because there was an Immortal stun that was going to connect with Diablo, so he just wanted to make sure he didn't get picked off. And the halftime show goes in favor of Miracle thanks to that lightning breath come out.
Tempest at this point just tapping. They go down to the bot lane, they tap at the fountain, make the rotation top there, trying to make sure that they're not losing out on the objective, that they can stall it out a bit longer. And this is also where you can see ETC now at the top side. He's going to get that experience. He still has the opportunity to use the stage dive, but Miracle makes the commitment. Stage dive comes into the back line. Blue Beetle needs to be careful, but immediately here comes the power slide, and that's the kill. Atlas goes down.
The salvo really connects there. Good looking for more kills here too. Dami stepping forward. Will be looking for that propulsion. Oil comes in and slow down anyone trying to retreat, but Miracle able to get away. Tempest can take this opportunity to seize damage on the Immortal.
It's so close. There's only 3,000 hit points left on Tempest's Immortal, but now they are trying to, of course, turn that around. They are still down a talent, but they have the 5 versus 4 going, and they're cutting Miracle off. No access to the right side of the map, and they're just poking away, trying to make sure that they're getting that Immortal before Arthas is back in the battle.
Judy goes for a combo, but Sign steps up. There goes the Dragon Arrow too. Sniper on the back right, trying his best here to stay alive. He's able to kite down to his
Sniper
He comes in for the jet propulsion while Sign deals with Blue Beetle on the back left.
Sign immediately getting stunned again though. Blue Beetle makes a place here. The pressure, they're thundering. They're going for him and down he goes. ETC dead in the waters and they're turning their attention to Phoenix. The double kill for Miracle.
Judy is not done. He goes to the lightning breath. He looks at Hanzo. Hanzo trying to win this race. Can he get off one more scatter arrow? Oh my gosh, 84 HP left. Tempest unable to get the Immortal, and Miracle turns around and takes an Immortal for themselves.
They take down the entire team. They even proc the camp here and are starting to go for that now too. Just as the Immortal, the objective is taken. Miracle is out for blood. Tempest, with a kill against Arthas, they look like they're finally in a position where they might start a comeback here, but Miracle is shutting it down completely.
You gotta love the Bruiser camp being grabbed too. Now suddenly ETC has to go to the top lane, so Miracle can get a bit more aggressive behind this. Fort on the bottom right corner, take that out, and you suddenly have pressure on top of that keep. In fact, all of Tempest is so afraid of that top lane being cleaned up, they brought everyone to clear it up.
It's still even talents, but for how long? A 2-level lead in the hands of Miracle as they're working their way towards level 16 talents. Tempest, how do they play this now? Do they try and push past the Immortal, force the engage? They have nearly all the cooldowns readily available. It's only the bunker that they're still missing here.
The entire time, Sniper just dropping down that lighting as well. Arrow comes out, but it does not connect on a target. Tempest goes in for the engage. Dami in the back right has to drop the Pyromania. He's low on health. He's trying to escape. There's a bunker.
Bunker just in the nick of time. Comes off cooldown. He uses it immediately, but has to retreat back here as we see Miracle just power through that bot lane and go for the keep.
That's keeps and that's catapults there. Tempest has to back away, and they still have that keep in the top right corner and standing, but it is low. Miracle rotating this top side. They have a talent advantage, 3 levels ahead. This game is in the bag in their eyes. Can they hold on though and shut down Tempest with a 2-0?
Miracle already in the lead in the series, and they are definitely here to take it all without even drop a map. They're going for keep number 2, and there is nothing to stop them. Tempest skirting around the edges of this fight, but they can't find the engage, and with a 3-level lead, 2 keeps down, Miracle moves away and is waiting for the next Immortal to spawn.
Miracle with a massive lead can play this slow, but Tempest, you gotta be happy that you picked ETC in this spot, because you are behind, but at least you had that global available. You can clear out the catapults, you can play it safe and get that 16, but it is down to one last chance. It may come down to a Hail Mary team fight for them.
Oh, it definitely will. Tempest is with the back to the wall now. They have one more fight and they know it, and they might have to take it out. Having the 16 talent as well. They need a pick. They need to find a fight. And Miracle knows it. They're not going to give it to them. They're going to wait as long as they can. They're trying to now go for the camps here, but they're going to play this very cautious. Judy anchoring the plays already. They're playing around vision. They're making sure that they know exactly where Tempest is, or at least play it safe.
Judy holding the bushes, Toronto constantly with the scouts of the Owls, keeping an eye on where that 5-man is currently at, even grouping up as a 5-man in case they do get surprised and can escape together. Miracle starting to push out this bottom lane. They know Tempest is in this top side. There's 3 there. No fight will be unfolding. Tempest, meanwhile, is trying desperately to find that level 16.
Destroying the walls, limiting the vision that we are seeing coming from Tempest. The Owls still following through, and they can also, at any point, even pressure the core. If you're Tempest, you move into the middle, and all of a sudden Miracle appears bot side, you might just lose the core without even having a chance of a fair fight.
I think even just showing that you want to go for that aggressive play makes Tempest back up, and that means you get a head start on top of the Immortal. Look at this, Miracle already in position. They had Tempest cowering in that bottom right corner of the battleground, and Miracle goes straight for the halftime show.
And look at Tempest, they're so close, it's half a level away. But they just can't wait for it. They need to go in, they're trying to. They go for Judy, and he charges the Immortal to get out of the Immortal stun. Great play by him. Tempest doesn't find the opening.
Look at ETC in the top left corner. If Miracle were to kite that top left, he would have gone in for a power slide and try to get them in. At the same time, Whiteman pervading the heals. Dami trying his best here to hold that front line.
Tempest in this entire game has only found a single kill. Miracle is sitting at 9, and they want more. Once again, the stuns are coming out. The arrow comes in. Chap and Dami doesn't find an ETC with the power slide. The salvo, the kill. Reyna is down, and they're looking for more.
They find a Jemmy. Miracle trying to skedaddle here. Judy doing his best here to hold Dami on the corner, but Dami with the jump propulsion gets out. But look at the top left. Hyde gets in trouble as Whitemane is cleaned up. Miracle trades 1 for 1.
And Hanzo barely jumping out, at least for now, trying to retreat here. Tempest, they get the early kill, but then the death of Whitemane is evening up the scores again.
Oh no.
Already on the run. But we have the engage on the Immortal, and the fight's just continuing. Lockdown and Sign, they are just trying to rush away from this.
You can run, but you cannot hide from Judy. Judy going for the kills here at the top right, though. Good, and Dami find their own dicks. They chase down Nostrigen. Blue Beetle kiting the best he can here, but he's just a lonely support. Jet propulsion and a cleanup.
Tirana goes down, but there's catapults on the core. Tempest, fires are burning everywhere. They somehow need to deal with all of this. Win the Immortal, defend the core, and it's losing hit points as we speak.
Down to 80%, and now as Tempest goes back to clean up. They have left in a spot here where Miracle is able to grab that Immortal. And this Immortal is surely game if Miracle is able to finish it up. They're so close, 3k HP left on it.
Sniper, Judy, and Nachogen are already focusing in it, and they are just obliterating it. Big Immortal coming in once again. Tempest sitting at 71% on the core. They're still 2 levels behind. They finally picked up that level 16 talent, but this is looking like an absolutely Hail Mary move. How do you defend here against the Miracle?
You have to fight, and Tempest knows that. They step up and they jump on Judy, who's a little too far forward. Here comes the stage dive too. Big power slide available here for Cyan Candy. Find a target. There it is. Salvo connects. Dami hit the jump motion on the back right, but Judy tries to escape.
It's not enough. There's no kill. They're trying to go for Diablo. They might get him, and indeed they do. He loses his souls, but he will be back. Lockdown so close to falling. Barely escapes here. They try to keep him alive, but that Immortal is still moving towards the core.
Exactly.
That thing is a beast, and it will destroy. They need to rush that down.
Lockdown trying to clean it up here, dropping on the scatter arrows, and Nachogen and Frankel are right behind. Sniper 2. Here comes some more damage here as Stein is trying to escape. She gets cleaned up, and the Immortal is on the core. The shield are still there, but Lockdown is doing his best to clean it up.
Once again, they're trying to go for the backline kills, but Phoenix falls, 50%. And Tempest hopes are dying
40.
with them. 46%, 37. They're going for it. This is
20.
the last kill. Down goes Blaze.
There it is.
Score, and Miracle takes the 2-0 in the series.
Miracle always having a difficult time when it comes to Tempest, consistently losing to them when it came to the yearly play, but when it matters, on the big stage, Miracle is able to turn around, and they do it in a decisive manner, a 2-0 Caldor.
And you gotta love Blue Beetle there. Everybody jumping up, ecstatic, and Blue Beetle is sitting there, yeah, we want another day in the office. Throws a jacket over and on the way out of it.
So Miracle will be moving forward to semifinals. They'll be facing off against Team Dignitas tomorrow, but for tonight, they can celebrate a well-earned victory. They were so worried that they did not deserve to be here at BlizzCon. They felt like we had surpassed expectations somehow, but with this victory, I think everyone can confidently say they deserve to compete here.
Oh yeah, they absolutely destroyed Tempest in the series, and this is going to make for a great, great match tomorrow when they are off to face against Dignitas. Miracle, they really impressed here. That was well executed. The team fights, they excelled at them, and they also knew exactly when to fight, when to move back. Great game sense from them. This is what you expect from a top Korean team. This is exactly what we're getting here at BlizzCon.
My favorite part about their play today is that this boa constrictor play that they've always had where they try to choke out their opponents. They slowed it down just a little bit there, enough to where they can actually control Tempest, someone that has always had the upper hand on them. Love the play from Miracle, and I can't wait to see more from them.
And of course, as we have them with the 2-0, we're also going to hear from Nachogen, who's going to talk to Kevin a little bit more about that match that we just saw.
That's right, Caldor. I'm here with Nachogen from Miracle. Fantastic win here in the round of 8. And I got to say, Miracle has looked amazing, both in the